What is up? We are here. We are live. I am here. It's your boy TPJ. I'm here live late at night on the West Coast. If you are on the East Coast, then obviously it's early in the morning for you. It's your boy TPJ of Hoops and Brews. I'm here. I'm live right now. We're on the internet. It's the opening day, for the NBA. So I decided to start a new, kind of show that I could do from my webcam. I'm switching locations in terms of kind of, where, the studio is and stuff like that. So I thought that it would be a perfect opportunity for me to, kind of try this new setup. Basically with this new setup, what I want to do is every night after the games, I want to get on here and talk to you guys for about 30 minutes to an hour. I got the box score up right there. I got the chat room. The chat room is live, so you can view the chat room if you want to actually tune in and view the chat room. I'm recapping all of the games. I really, really appreciate all of you all for tuning in very, very much. You guys are amazing. Thank you for, checking out this show. I actually was going to call this show originally. I was going to call this show The Last Time Out. Then I did my Googles and I saw that it was another show called The Last Time Out. So I decided not to create a show called The Last Time Out. I hit the homie Pavy up. I'm like, yo, what should I name the show? Pavy told me, name the show 2 for 1. So that is why this show is called the 2 for 1 show. So this is the 2 for 1 show. It's a nightly recap of, everything that happened in the NBA. So I'm going to go ahead and, everything that you see on this show in terms of like stats and things of that sort are courtesy of NBA.com. I'll just scroll up to the top if I can. Well, I can't go up that far as I want to. But, it's all courtesy of NBA.com. So huge shouts out to NBA.com for always just providing a dope fan experience. I even remember when I was coming up and doing my thing, kind of as a youngin'. And when it came to like NBA.com in high school, NBA.com was a thing that I was always on. You know what I mean? I stayed on NBA.com. Me and all my homies, we used to be, in gym class and things of that sort on NBA.com. Our high school, we were fortunate enough to actually have computers in high school. So because we had computers inside of the high school, it actually allowed me to be able to get on NBA.com all the time. I remember I got a homie, his name is Will. If you want to, you can find him on Instagram. I think his name is Will Got Soul. That's SOLE. And like me and him, we went to elementary school, but we was like nemesis in elementary school, but also, once we got to high school, we was like nemesis. But we was nemesis in high school because we had division together, and he was a Kobe fan. And if you knew me, you knew I didn't rock with Kobe. So if you knew me and you knew that I didn't rock with Kobe, obviously, right, because we had computers in the class, I would go to NBA.com. I would search up the latest stories, the latest statistics, the latest this, the latest that. Look up all of that stuff, and I would have all my information ready. I was doing Hoops and Brews before Pavy even thought of the concept of Hoops and Brews. And it's just amazing to see like NBA.com continue to be something that I can always go back and refer to, and it always be really a true knowledge base for everything that is NBA basketball. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the homie Off Topic K. He said, what's good, 1 a.m. my time. Somebody said, you do good, dope. Shout out to you. Shout out to the homie Mega BKNY. I appreciate you all for watching me on the East Coast. Shout out to everybody that donates. If you donate, obviously, your donation will appear live on this video. This video is a live stream. So currently what I have on right now, I have on MLG highlights in the background. His highlights are playing. Currently, it's highlights of the Wizards versus the Mavericks game. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to talk about the Wizards versus the Mavericks game. This was a game that I was very, very intrigued by, obviously, because my son Luca Dante, is there doing his thug thizzle, as it pertains to the Mavericks. And the one thing that I was very impressed with, with the Mavericks and even with Luca today was Luca was in his zone. You know what I mean? And, with Luca, last year he came out and obviously, he made headlines for saying, that the offense was a lot easier in the NBA and all the other kind of stuff like that than it was in international play. And I thought that with Luca making such a big deal of like everything that was going on, in international play, I thought that it would be very interesting to see how he comes out, this season, because like I told you guys, he is better than LeBron. I will continue to tell you all that Luca Doncic is better than LeBron. It's just facts. Luca Doncic is better than LeBron. He's better than LeBron is now. He's better than LeBron was when LeBron was a rookie and when LeBron was doing what he was doing. The only thing Luca Doncic has to do at the age of 20 is win. Luca Doncic is better than LeBron. I'm sorry. You guys can hate me for it. You can get mad at me, but it is what it is. Luca, I'm sorry, bro. Period. All right. And the reason why I always love to, quote unquote, as people like to say, hate on LeBron. It's not because I like to hate on LeBron. I just like to root against greatness, right? And even within seeing Luca Doncic, right? Luca Doncic is great, but also seeing LeBron is great. But LeBron's greatness was partially because of LeBron's hype, and a lot of LeBron's greatness I didn't necessarily like because it was self-proclaimed greatness. And I don't think Luca Doncic came into the NBA saying, "Oh, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that, I'm gonna be the greatest player to ever live, I'm gonna be better than Michael Jordan." He didn't come into the league saying those things. LeBron did. So when LeBron comes into the league and he's saying these things and he's doing these things and he's acting the way that he was acting, kind of with this whole "I'm the chosen one" and all this stuff like that, it's like, I've always felt like you can't be a self-anointed king. Like, I'm sorry. Luca Doncic did not self-anoint himself as a king or as anything other than what he is, and that is, a budding young superstar. And I think that the most interesting and I think that the most intriguing part about Luca Doncic, for his year 2 is that I said he's my sleeper for MVP. If he can come out realistically every night with Kristaps Porzingis and give me 27, 8, and 5, which last year he gave me 23, I believe it was. Let's actually go to the stats because I have them up in front of me. Let's click on them. Shout out to NBA.com. Let's hope this loads. But Luca, looking at Luca, let's see his stats. Luca Doncic's stats last year. Why don't they show averages? Come on, man. Let's see. Basketball reference. Luca Doncic. Let's see. Give me a second. Alrighty. Let's see some Luca Doncic stats. This is according to Basketball Reference. Shout out to Basketball Reference, but I love that I can be able to just pull this stuff up. So Luca Doncic stats last year were 21.2 points per game, 7.8 total rebounds per game, 6.6 defensive rebounds, per game, which is great, and 6 assists, right? Even the fact that he can step in and give you 1 offensive rebound, every game is great. So going into this season, I'm looking at Luca and I'm thinking, yo, Luca, you got to come out and you got to kill. Like, I'm saying you're going to be better than LeBron. People love to say that I was like hyping up Zion and and being blasphemous with my Zion takes. I wasn't being blasphemous with my Zion takes. My Zion takes are what my Zion Williamson takes are. I still think that he has the potential to be better than LeBron. I mean, we've seen Russell Westbrook come back from a meniscus tear. Russell Westbrook is actually always getting his knee checked on and his knee drained. So even from that perspective, I don't want to hear anybody talk about that as well. Looking at Luca, what he did tonight in this game versus Dallas, I turned the game off in the third quarter, and I turned it off in the third quarter because they were up 21. I believe the score was 87 to 66, and they were just killing them. And obviously, the Mavericks came back to make the game a lot closer. Bradley started to step up. And even as I'm looking at the highlights, Luka's not on the floor right now, and his lead is shrinking from what it was down to a 14-point lead. Shout out to Tim Hardaway Jr., who didn't have a good game. He definitely embarrassed me, especially after I said Donovan Mitchell is better than him. Tim Hardaway Jr., you got to do better, bro. You got to do better, bro. You embarrassing me out here, G. I said you was better than that man, Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell played great. We're going to talk about that in a second. But Luka came out, and he was just lights out. Luka put up, in 33 minutes, he put up 34 points. He was 12 of 9 from the field goal, range. He was 4 of 9 from 3-point range. He was 6 of 8 from the free throw line, which is big for him. He has not been a consistent free throw shooter. Although this is 75%, I like this. I want Luka to stay in this range. I told Pavy that I thought that Luka could improve his, free throw shooting percentage anywhere between 15 to 20% this year. I believe that. I believe that free throw shooting is about work ethic and really trying to be in. I think for big guys guys. It's not necessarily about work ethic. It's about touch. But if Luca can drop bombs from 30 and he can cross people over and he can make people look foolish out there on the court, he can get his ass in the gym and he can go out there and he can do what he needs to do to make his free throws. And I thought that was huge. The other thing that I thought was huge for Luca Dante was his rebounding. Him coming out and giving me 9 rebounds is something that I need. The fact that Kristaps Porzingis only had 4 rebounds is embarrassing. Now, albeit it's his first NBA game back, I'm glad that Kristaps Porzingis came back. I'm glad that he's now able to play really what he should be playing, and that's the natural 4 role, which is what I believe Kristaps Porzingis is. That's also why I said that I think Lauri Markkanen is going to be good. And even my younger brother was texting me and Pavy about it. He's like, yo, Lauri's really, really good. Lauri's going to be better than all these guys. I'm like, yo, I know that Lauri's going to be this good. Pavy doesn't necessarily agree that Lauri Markkanen is going to be that good, but I think Lauri Markkanen is going to be extremely, extremely good. So the fact that Kristaps Porzingis can come back off the ACL and put up in 29 minutes, 23 points, 7 of 6, shooting, 3 of 7 from the 3-point line, and also 6 of 7 from the 3-point line. From the free throw line. That's something that's huge for KP because this Dallas team needs consistent free throw shooting, especially because of the fact that this is a fairly young team. So when they get into situations in which they are playing late games and they will be required to come and try to win those games in late game situations, they will need to be able to hit their free throw shots. So when I'm looking at the Dallas Mavericks, I'm looking at this team and I feel very encouraged. Obviously, the Wizards are going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA, so I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to act like like the Mavericks are about to take over the NBA after one game. But I will say that this game was very, very encouraging, and even just seeing Luca go out there and and essentially already be eclipsing his career highs or reaching his career highs within that first game, coming back in. You know what I mean? That means he's on. That's what I want to see from Harden. I'm going to talk about the Bucks and the Rockets, in a second. But first, I want to go ahead and take a quick break, and I want to show you guys this, interview that I conducted with LeVar Ball. I'll be right back. In the next game that we're going to talk about, we're going to breeze through talking about the Pistons as well as the Orlando Magic, as well as the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Heat game, as well as we're going to talk about the Knicks versus the Spurs. My concerns about the Spurs are still valid, but check out this clip of me interviewing one LeVar Ball. All right, and obviously, you have a potential number 1 prospect in LaMelo Ball.
Potential? Stop it. He is the number 1.
Okay.
Ain't no potential. That's why y'all be getting stuck.
Okay, now we know you will.
I'm always right.
Okay, we know you will Lonzo to the number 2 pick. So, are we still going to see the same, braggadocious big baller when it comes to LaMelo as he, takes his journey, to the NBA draft? Or are you going to be a little bit more reserved?
You see that? Reserve what? I'm reserved nothing. Don't be mad at me because I got 3 superstars. I got 3 lotto tickets.
Okay. All right, and I guess my last question is, I look at Lonzo and see the things that he's doing down there with Zion. I've personally thought Lonzo has MVP potential. Just can you give me a little bit of thoughts on just in terms of kind of what Alvin Gentry will do for Lonzo and what you think Lonzo will do for Zion?
Lonzo does what he does, which is make everybody around him better. He's been doing that ever since he's been playing basketball. Alvin Gentry is going to unleash some stuff that was supposed to be unleashed in L.A. Like I said, anybody who wants to be successful, the coach got to believe in you. If the coach don't believe in you, I don't care how talented you are, you're not going to do nothing. So for Lonzo, what did the coach tell him, Alvin Gentry? He said, I want to play the fastest pace in the NBA. That's Lonzo's strength. Let's go see how fast we can go. Right now, they had 2 preseason games, not even gelling right now, and they averaging 130.
Yeah. 2 preseason games in Nikes. Are we going to see a return of the big baller brand?
You're going to see a return of the big baller brand, but here's the thing. My sons is always going to be with Big Baller Brand. Now, they can wear whatever shoe they want. That's what Big Baller Brand allows, the independency to say, yo, I can wear Nikes, I can wear Adidas. I don't mean I got to sign with them, but I can wear any shoe I want. But I'm going to be with Big Baller Brand.
All right, thank you, LeVar. I appreciate it. So, shout out to the homie LeVar Ball for being a great guy. People love to hate on LeVar, talk shit about LeVar. LeVar is a really, really good guy. Shout out to him. I appreciate that. Shout out to everybody that is currently in the chat room. Let's go ahead and let's see what everybody's talking about in the chat room. Somebody said 76ers spacing is garbage. Somebody said best game was the Nets versus the Wolves. I agree. Someone said Jokic looking better than Embiid. No, he's not. Stop it. Someone says Towns looks better than Joel. Like, come on, stop it with the hot takes. You guys are on them. You on that bahooga shahooga. All right, you're on that booger sugar. All right, you're tweaking. All right, you're big mon tweak team. That's what y'all doing right now. Okay. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the next game of tonight. Let's finish this recap. Let's continue to power through. The Detroit Pistons, they played the Indiana Pacers in a game that was actually a very close game. Derrick Rose in that game played extremely well. I was very, very encouraged by everything that I saw from Derrick Rose. Also, I was extremely encouraged by everything that I saw from Thon Maker. Thon Maker is a guy that, I just need him to have some level of effect on the game because I'm concerned. I'm legitimately concerned. I need him to have some level of effect on the game because I think that at a certain point when you're looking at Thon Maker, while Blake is going to be out because, as Pavy always loves to say, Blake was hurt. Blake is always going to be hurt, right? Looking at this team, Thon has to be the guy that is going to come into this lineup for this team and really be the difference maker. And if he's not going to come into the lineup for this team and be the difference maker, then they're going to have a lot of trouble. The thing that I saw that was very encouraging tonight for the Detroit Pistons was the fact that Derrick Rose put up 18 points, but also the thing that Derrick Rose was doing for this team, he was distributing. He was dishing the ball. Derrick Rose had 9 assists. My younger brother sent me a text message earlier, and he literally said, I need you guys to talk about Derrick Rose being a starter again because Reggie Jackson is trash. I agree. Reggie Jackson is not good at playing basketball anymore. I think that he is one of those guys that is probably a solid year or two away from being out of the league. I don't have any confidence in Reggie Jackson in terms of who he has been as a player, the things that he has done, and kind of what he is also meant to achieve in this lineup with this team, with this unit. And, Derrick Rose is a guy that, the Pistons announcers were talking about how they don't want Derrick Rose to go out and they don't want Derrick Rose to play a lot of minutes. And it's understandable as to why they don't want Derrick Rose to play a lot of minutes. Derrick Rose played 26 minutes tonight, which is something that you do want from Derrick Rose. If they can get 26 to 30 consistent minutes a night from Derrick Rose, that's great. Derrick Rose this year, I think, will have the opportunity to be an all-star. I think Derrick Rose this year has the opportunity to step in, take over this starting spot. With Blake Griffin limping into the season, we will instantly be able to see the immediate effect of one Derrick Rose. Andre Drummond looked like a demon out there. That man played 40 minutes. He put up 32 points. He was 12 of 18 shooting. He was playing with aggression. He was 8 of 10 from the free throw line, which is extremely huge for him. But he also gave me 7 offensive rebounds. That's 7 more opportunities for your team to be able to score. He also gave you 4 blocks, 3 steals, only 2 turnovers, and his plus minus was a 4. Although he had 4 fouls, which is also something for him that I think he'll have to keep track of, because even a guy like Miles Turner is a crafty guy. Drummond's going to have to play a lot of better, bigger competition in the East. So looking at this, this game, this is very encouraging all around. Luke Kennard, one of the announcers for the Detroit Pistons said that Derrick Rose told Luke Kennard that he doesn't really realize how good, he is and how good he can be. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that Luke Kennard can be very, very good. And as Pavy has said many times, he believes that Luke Kennard was the best player for this Pistons team last year when they were playing in the playoffs. I don't believe that personally. I think it was Blake Griffin, including the one game he played. Excuse me. Sorry. Got the hiccups. Excuse me. So I thought that was very encouraging, but I need Thon Maker to step in and continue to be a valuable role player and come in and affect the game. And those 15 minutes in which he was on the floor, although he was a -3 for the game, and he only had 1 block, I noticed his presence on the floor. And he's a guy where I'm sick of seeing him on the floor and not noticing that he's on the floor. Also, the other big thing for this team is the fact that Markieff Morris is going to be able to come off of the bench for this team once Blake Griffin gets back. Obviously, Reggie Jackson, I believe he should come off the bench. I actually think Luke Kennard should eventually start over Bruce Brown. I think that the Pistons starting lineup going forward should be Derrick Rose, Luke Kennard, Andre Drummond, Markieff Morris, and Tony Snell. And I think that that is a team that could potentially get you a third seed. What I did not like in this game was, reversing gears, is looking at the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers did not look good to me. I think that the subtraction of Victor Oladipo is going to be something in which you're going to really notice for this team, and they need him to come back desperately. If Victor Oladipo doesn't come back in any close to the condition in which he left, this is going to be a team in which I'm going to tell you should probably maybe think about tanking if they're somewhere around 500 around the All-Star break, and just keep Vic out for another year. Tank, see if you can get a new pick. Obviously, there are going to be new tanking rules that are going to happen in the NBA. So even when you're looking at it from that perspective, if you're a team like the Pacers, you're a small market team. What if you could luck up and get LaMelo Ball, right? So for me, looking at the Pacers, I think that they do have the opportunity to go out and not only build a winning season, depending upon Victor Oladipo's help, but also build a very valuable losing season as well. And also, Domantas Sabonis is a guy that a lot of people have been talking about behind the scenes as potentially being a piece that could be moved by the time this season is over. So remember that. Keep that in mind as we move forward. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move to the next game, which is the Orlando Magic versus the Cavaliers. Sorry, typing all of this, my bad. Typing all of this live. And actually it was the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic. And I'm gonna get this all set up eventually, you know what I mean? And then we gonna make it happen. I just had the idea to do this stream tonight because our stream last night did so well. Shout out to everybody that participated in the stream last night. Over 66,000 views for our, opening special. We were able to feature over 7 hours of original Hoops and Brews content. If you checked it out, you were able to watch us talk before the games, and then you were able to watch us talk after the games, including, live analysis immediately after the game about the Lakers versus the Clippers series. We're going to try to, keep that going and continuing with that. But the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic. Hopping on into it. This game was a game which was very vanilla. Obviously, the Cleveland Cavaliers are not going to win many games. Colin Sexton started tonight. He's a guy in which, the homie Scott was actually texting me about, the whole group about, saying, Colin Sexton lost his starting job. Yes, he's very close to that. And for this team, I think that, it's going to be very interesting to see where this team and where this entire, season goes for, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that I really like Jetty, but Jetty's a guy that I need Jetty to be a 20. I really need Jetty to kind of be more in the line of 18 to 20 point per game score and a 6 to 7 rebound a game guy. And I just don't see him doing that. I also see Kevin Love being one of the players that, by trade deadline, they're going to sell. I think Tristan Thompson has a contract which is movable. He gave, 16 and he gave you 11 rebounds today. Kevin Love gave you 11 and 18. I think that if there's a team that's looking for some size at, as we move toward the trade deadline, I think this Cleveland Cavaliers team has a lot of size that they can offload. And obviously they're trying to sell and get rid of it so that way they can, rebuild their team from scratch. Darius Garland is a guy that, the Pavy, has compared to Dame Lillard. I'll see it, when it happens, but I think that this team is, terribly defensive. I think that this team is a terrible defensive team, but I also think that beyond this team being a terrible defensive team, this team is a team that I don't think is going to get many buckets, and I think that versus good teams, they're going to get their ass locked up, and that is what is, it is going to be what it is. Shout out to Markelle Fultz, who in this game, everybody loved to tell me when I, would tweet Markelle Fultz GIFs and videos talking about how happy I was that he was coming back, telling me like, oh, well, he played terrible today. He did this, he did that. Well, in Markelle Fultz's actual rookie, first game debut for a season for a team in which he's not coming off of an injury. He played 23 minutes. He gave you 12 points. He was 6 of 12 from the, from the floor. He had that thunderous dunk in transition. He was 0-3 from the three-point line, but the fact that he took 3 threes is encouraging to me. Ben Simmons is a guy that's we're still looking to take 3 threes. You know what I mean? He also, gave you 6 assists, which I think is valuable for the Orlando Magic off the bench. The 3 turnovers were concerning because him, as well as Evan Fournier, had the most turnovers in this game. But looking at this game as a whole, I think Al-Farouq Aminu is a guy that, if you look at, his stat line for this game, look how valuable this stat line is for this team as they will go forward. He is a guy that will come in and give you 30 minutes a night, but does not need to take more than 5 shots. He is a guy that will come in and play defense for you night in and night out. He is a guy that if Aaron Gordon gets moved at the All-Star break or by the trade deadline, will step in and play power forward for this team happily, and they will not miss a beat, because I think Jonathan Isaac needs more room to take more shots. Jonathan Isaac should not be taking 3 field goal attempts, period. Mo Bamba should not be taking 5 field goal attempts, period. So I think that they have a lot that they need to work on, but I think that, Terrence Ross is a guy for this team that, although he was a plus, in terms of the plus minus, he was a plus 17 for the game. I need better shooting from him, but as long as when he's on the floor they're not down, I'm not upset with that. So let's go ahead and let's hop back into the game scores, and let's hop on over to the next game. The next game we have is the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Miami Heat. This game was a game in which we saw white on white crime. Yes, you heard what I said. We saw white on white crime. Tyler Herro is out there treating grown men like children with head fakes. Tyler Herro head fake when he catches the ball is so goddamn good. He been breaking people's ankles all goddamn season long. From the preseason to every part of the goddamn season, he's been going insane. Shout out to Tyler Herro. Shout out to the young rook. Only 19 years old. The kid is going to be insane. He's going to be a superstar. Obviously, the Miami Heat came up, on top as it pertains to this game. It was a very, very close game. Not necessarily in terms of the score, obviously. But it was a close game because what we saw was a lot of young guys on the floor getting minutes for both teams. And usually, especially in guys' first games, you don't really know how people will react. So, Tyler Herro played 33 minutes, right? If Jimmy Butler's out there on the floor, I don't know if Tyler Herro's playing 33 minutes. Kendrick Nunn is a guy that is going to come into the NBA and instantly be able to be effective immediately. Kendrick Nunn is a guy that is a pure point guard, but also a pure scorer. He dropped 40 the other day in preseason. He dropped 24 today. He was 10 of 18 from the field goal range. Tyler Herro actually played very good basketball to me. When you're a rookie, all I'm looking for you to do is come in and not be negative on the plus minus. The other thing that I really like for this Heat team is the fact that Myers Leonard is their starting center. I thought Bam might be their starting center. I thought they might try to go with a smaller lineup. But I like the fact that Bam is the power forward. And I like the fact, because what this does for this team is when Tyler Herro then has to go to the bench and gets moved to the bench, I think what that will do for this team is allow this team to be able to have an extremely strong bench. Pavy was right. This Heat team is a team that I said might not make the playoffs, but I'm actually starting to really rethink everything that I was saying in regards to that. I might be tweaking. I might be wrong about that. But this was still a good win nonetheless. Let's go ahead and let's hop into the next game, which is did not update the title, but whatever. That was a whatever game. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the next game, which is the Celtics versus the 76ers. We have what was supposed to be a good matchup, but it really wasn't. I saw some people in the chat room, during the show, say that, that they have terrible spacing. Yes, the spacing is bad. The spacing is bad because they don't have a shooter. Maybe, excuse me. Excuse me, sorry, talking. But back to what I was saying. About the 76ers, the spacing on the floor for them is going to be a little bit rough to start out. These guys are all in new positions. They have to figure things out. Ben Simmons came out tonight, and I thought that his level of aggression was something that was beyond necessary, but also something that I need to see from him every night. Ben Simmons came out and gave you 24 points. He was 11 to 16 from the field goal range. Didn't take a three. But he had 8 assists, 9 rebounds. He did have 4 turnovers, which is concerning. But the thing about Ben Simmons is I just need him to be aggressive. I think Ben Simmons has the opportunity to be the best player in the league. If I'm Ben Simmons, I'm thinking, why can't I be the best player in the league? I can easily be the best player on this team. I think that he is a guy at 6'9". He's unstoppable. He's got finesse. He can finish. He's got the scooper high off the glass. He's got a running hook shot. He doesn't have a jump shot yet, but still, if you're going to tell me that every night he's still going to shoot 68 to 70% from the field goal range, that's insane. I still think that he should be taking 3 threes a game, like I mentioned about Markelle Fultz. But I also believe that Ben Simmons himself, needs to be comfortable. The other thing that I really liked about the 76ers was Matisse Thybulle. That dude can play some defense. And I think that he'll be huge for this. I think that he will be huge for this team. The thing that's very concerning about the 76ers team is that they don't have anything off the bench. Their bench only gave them, James Ennis 3 points. Matisse gave them 3 points. Furkan Korkmaz gave them 3 points. Mike Scott gave them 6. Kyle O'Quinn gave them 5. That's not enough. I need more than that from this team. I need the bench players to play better. I think that what they should really look to do, at the trade deadline is go out and try to be some buyers. I actually think that, them going out and even trying to pick up a guy like a Joe Johnson wouldn't be that bad. I think them going out and trying to pick up a guy like a Jamal Crawford wouldn't be that bad. They just need someone to come off the bench and give them instant offense. Obviously people are on my ass because I said Joel Embiid is better than Jokic, and Embiid had a rough night tonight. It was a rough night, but I think that Embiid has to get used to playing with Horford. I think the other thing that we don't really understand is that Embiid has always pretty much played with wing type of power forwards or players. Dario Saric is not a player that lives in the paint or lives in the mid-range. He's a guy that kind of, floated on the peripheral edges of the three-point line. So when I'm looking at this team and I'm looking at everything that's going on with the 76ers, yes, their spacing is going to be bad. Sometimes the spacing is bad, but it's also the first game. They also won for the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown just got a $115 million extension. He went out and put up 8 points. It was pretty terrible performance. Kemba Walker was god-awful. One of my homies who's from Boston literally sent me a text message. Let's see what he said. He said, bro, is Kemba trash? He's from Boston. He's a diehard Celtics fan. Shout out to my homie TPG. Kemba looked god-awful. Tatum looked solid. Hayward looked but it's like I just don't really know what to believe about this Boston Celtics team. I think this Celtics team is a team that, if they're floating around the 500 mark around trade deadline, do they not try to offload a Jason Tatum or a guy like Gordon Hayward and try to tank? Because I think that LaMelo Ball is going to be the best thing since sliced bread coming out of this draft. And even pairing LaMelo Ball with with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, with Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker, that's perfect. Put Kemba at the 1, put LaMelo Ball at the 2, put Jaylen Brown at the wing, which is where he really wants to play. I wouldn't mind them trading Tatum to somewhere if they really felt that they could get a valuable asset for Jason Tatum. So I think that for the Boston Celtics, this is not an encouraging game. It's one in which it is a little bit worrying and it is a little bit troubling if you're a Celtics fan. I'm not gonna lie to you and act as if you should be happy. You shouldn't be happy that you guys have a team that by all measures could wind up being in the Eastern Conference Finals, or you could wind up missing the playoffs to me. So even looking at that, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tap in and check out the Celtics schedule. The Celtics schedule coming up, they have the Raptors. That's a potential loss. The Knicks played very well versus the Spurs, which is what I'm about to talk about in a second. That's a potential loss. The Bucks, potential loss. Knicks, potential loss. But I do think that the encouraging thing for the Celtics is that, let's see, last year the Knicks didn't make the playoffs, the Cavs didn't make the playoffs, the Hornets didn't make the playoffs, the Mavericks didn't make the playoffs, the Wizards didn't make the playoffs. That's around their first 10 games. It's about 4 or 5 teams that didn't make the playoffs. They can find their rhythm. I'm not going to say that it's over for them yet. I think we'll see. We'll see. So moving on, let's go ahead and let's hop right back into the scoreboard. We had a game in which we had the New York Knicks versus the Spurs tonight. This game was a game in which I actually watched pretty much the entire, I believe, second half of this game. Didn't watch the first half of this game. But even with that being said, I still really, really enjoyed this game. I thought that this was a good game. I thought that the Knicks came out and they played very, very well. But as we all know about the Knicks are going to nick. And that's exactly what the Knicks did. The Knicks went out and they nicked. The Knicks literally were playing great basketball up until about the 5-minute mark in this game. And then around the 5-minute mark in the game, Julius Randle decides to start playing like a bonehead. Elfrid Payton gets a wide open look to the to the lane, misses a bunny. Literally misses a bunny. Then the Spurs get a turnover. Then you know what happens. The game is over. But even looking at the at the Knicks, what was very encouraging for me was R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett in his first game as a pro played like a pro. I was very, very proud of him. He's a guy which I've never been high on R.J. Barrett as being a prospect. I always thought that R.J. Barrett was a guy, for all intents and purposes that was not going to really come out and affect the game. And what I saw today, in his first game as a pro was him affecting the game. He took smart shots. He was 9 of 13 from the field goal range. He was 2 of 4 from the free throw line. I need him to shoot better. I need him to pretty much be cashing out his free throws. Julius Randle kind of played like a bonehead today. I'm not sold on Julius Randle being my best player. I'm not. I think that Julius Randle is a guy that at best he's a third option, but he's gonna get main options. He's a guy that I noticed tonight versus the Spurs. The Spurs played Julius Randle a lot to his left-hand side, so they were forcing him to try to go right, and Julius Randle was so comfortable shooting off his left. He would go left every time. There was a play in the third quarter in which he got the ball in the post on the right hand side. He started backing down to the left hand, made it all the way to the paint. He could have easily just turned around to his right, hit a move, and then laid the ball up. But he's so left hand dominant. He's not going to be one of those guys for me where I'm going to constantly be worried about Julius Randle. He's a tertiary option. He's not a main option. I think that they did the right thing in drafting R.J. Barrett because Julius Randle just is not the option, and he's just not the guy for this Knicks team. But still, I'm not upset with it. Still very proud of them. I thought that this was a good game. It's a great learning block for them. The fact that Marcus Morris Sr. put up 26 points. He was 9 of 18. This Knicks team has scores. Bobby P didn't play as well as I needed him to play. He only had 8 points, 4-10 from the free throw range, but he was decent. Hopping over to the Spurs to talk about the Spurs. The Spurs are the Spurs, man. They're vanilla. They're boring. DeMar DeRozan did not play well again. Lonnie Walker Jr. is a guy that did not get a lot of tick and burn during the preseason, but he's a guy that I think needs some tick and some burn on his team. The fact that Trey Lyles is starting as your center, this Spurs team is not a playoff team to me. I'm going to say it again. Will they make the playoffs? Maybe. Most likely, because Pop is Pop, and they have one of the greatest basketball organizations and programs in the history of basketball organizations and programs. So looking at that from that perspective, what we have to think about is that the Spurs are always going to be there. They're always going to be there. But when it comes to the Spurs, and I'm looking at the Spurs, I need the Spurs to come out and dominate. And I thought that the Knicks came out and gave them their fair share of trouble. And even looking at that, let's go ahead and I'm actually going to go to the fourth quarter, in which I talked about the game slipping out of balance for the New York Knicks. So at that point in time, let's see, do they even show the score? I don't even think they show the score. Okay, look, so from like right on at this point, right, the timeout was called, which I don't know why they don't show the right here, right? Randle is replaced by Knox, right? Then after that, we get a missed three. Then we get a shoot, a shooting foul, cool. Then we get R.J. Barrett missed pull-up jump shot, terrible shot. I remember that. This man missed a reverse layup. Terrible shot. Remember that. Bobby poured a shot to Bobby P. Kind of with the tip layup. Then when we thinking about even going back to this now, when I'm coming back into around the 2-minute mark, right? This game was pretty much kind of slipping out of the balance for them. The Spurs just made play after play after play. They kept getting to the line, tons of free throws in this quarter, as you can see. And a guy like Trey Lyles was able to affect Julius Randle too much. I need Julius Randle to look like a dog, and he did not look like a dog. So it is what it is. But somebody said Spurs or OKC. Spurs or OKC in terms of missing the playoffs. Yes, I agree. OKC most likely will miss the playoffs. But I guess, we will see about that. So let's go ahead and let's hop into the next game, which actually we're going to talk about, which is Utah versus OKC. Give me 1 second. Want to go ahead and want to change the graphic really quickly. And then after this, we're gonna take a break. OKC Thunder versus Jazz. All right, so OKC Thunder versus Jazz. This game was a game in which I actually watched this game pretty much from the start. And what I was actually when it comes to this game, I was very unimpressed with your man's Donovan Mitchell to start the game for the first quarter. I thought Chris Paul came out on a tear and was really, really going at Donovan Mitchell. At first, Chris Paul, I believe, had 10 points, I think, in the first quarter, something like that. But then Donovan Mitchell settled into the game. Mike Conley was trash, bro. Mike Conley was god-awful. He was garbage in this game. He played terribly. Jazz fans told me I should be scared. This didn't look like nothing I should be scared of. The same issues in which I told you that you're going to experience from the Utah Jazz are the issues that the Utah Jazz experienced in this game. They barely won this game. They actually won this game in the last 3 minutes. And Donovan Mitchell won this game. I'm going to give Donovan Mitchell his props. Donovan Mitchell gets my player of the week. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Donovan Mitchell my player of the week so far in terms of my first. Well, actually, I'm sorry, not player of the week, player of the night. So Donovan Mitchell, you get the player of the night. This sip is for you, bro. Y'all love to say I hate on Donovan Mitchell. I'm giving the man props. He played very, very well. He was consistent overall. He did the damn thing. He, had energy. He played with pace. He made shots. Donovan Mitchell shot 14 to 22 from the field goal range in this game. If Donovan Mitchell can shoot 14 to 22 from the field goal range in every game, then yes, the Utah Jazz are undisputedly a top 4 team in the West. But that's not what's going to happen. What I did see from the Jazz team that was very concerning for me was seeing the fact that a team like the OKC Thunder was able to match them in terms of rebounding. There are better rebounding teams. There are taller teams, and there are teams that are better than the OKC Thunder. And I thought that for the Utah Jazz to only out-rebound the Thunder by 1 rebound, and Russell Westbrook is not on the floor, Paul George is not on the floor, Jeremy Grant is not on the floor, that's very concerning for the Jazz. Jazz fans love to say that I'm hating on you. I'm giving you actual basketball analysis. This is actual basketball analysis, and analysis is me telling y'all gonna have problems rebounding. You guys told me Ed Davis was gonna play good. Ed Davis played 10 goddamn minutes. He played 10 minutes. He scored 2 points. He was 0-3 from the field goal range. He gave you 6 rebounds. He didn't score. He played 10 minutes. Now, y'all gonna be like, but it's I don't want to hear about his per 30. If he can only play 10 minutes a night, then you're still not gonna win. The Jazz, you're gonna be in big trouble come the season. The other thing that wasn't encouraging for me for the Jazz was Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles does not look good coming off the bench. Bojan Bogdanovic also twisted his ankle in this game. He went down. He had to be carried off, but he came back, wound up playing in the second half. He gave you 16 points. And as I said before, Mike Conley was god-awful in this game. He gave you 5 points, 5 assists. Not really the way you want to come in, but it is what it is. Rudy Gobert did not play that well. I thought he did a solid job, but not that well. I thought Steven Adams actually did a great job of matching Rudy Gobert's intensity tonight. They both had the same amount of rebounds. I also thought that Hamdou Diallo is a guy that for this OKC team, I think he will slowly start to move up in the rankings for this team and potentially become their 6th man. Dennis Schroeder is a guy that if some team is looking for a point guard, including the Lakers, and they want to trade for Dennis Schroeder, I am selling Dennis Schroeder. Give me back whatever. I don't like for real. Give me back something. Give me back something, and you can take that man because I just don't have any confidence in Dennis Schroeder anymore. But let's go ahead. Let's get back to the scoreboard. Let's get ready to hop into the final couple games of the night. The Chicago Bulls versus the New Orleans Hornets. Let's talk about it. Here we go. All right. Bulls versus Hornets. Now, my homie hit me up and was like, yo, man, the Bulls and Boylen, he stinks. The Bulls and Boylen, it's not that Boylen stinks. Boylen doesn't stink. It's just that this Bulls team, I told you all, Zach LaVine is not a number 1 option. Lauri Markkanen is the number 1 option. And what you saw from Lauri Markkanen today was 35 points. You saw 17 rebounds. He was 13 to 25 from the field, but still 50%. Zach LaVine was 7 of 17 from the field goal range, and he only gave you 16 points. I'm not a big Zach LaVine guy. Thomas Satoransky is a guy that I think is going to lose his starting spot. I think Kobe White deserves that starting spot. I told you all that during the preseason matchup. You're going to see that is what it is. Kobe White deserves that starting spot. Chris Dunn actually had a decent game. I mean, he's a -8, so obviously when he comes into the game, he's not necessarily affecting it. But I really like what Kobe White did. What Kobe White showed me is that they need Kobe White to start for them, because on nights when Zach LaVine and teams are keying in on Zach LaVine can't really give you what you need him to. Otto Porter was also terrible in this game to me. I need him to be better. I need more than 2 rebounds from him. I need more than 9 rebounds from Wendell Carter Jr. I need 10 rebounds minimum every single night. And Satoransky, I need double digits from Satoransky every single night. If I'm not getting double digits from Thomas Satoransky, then there is no point of him being on the floor. Put Kobe White out there. Put Chris Dunn out there. Moving on to the Charlotte Hornets side of things. I think what you saw that was very encouraging for them is that, like, Pavy keeps talking to me about Dwayne Bacon. I'm not upset at Dwayne Bacon. Like, Dwayne Bacon is a guy where I'm looking at Dwayne Bacon and I'm thinking, okay, he might be a guy that could potentially wind up being a viable option for them. I think Terry Rozier is a guy that just got, traded for and just got paid. You can't come out and put up 2 points, 2 of 10 shooting, big fella. You only gave me 6 assists, big fella. That's not good enough. I need Terry Rozier to be better. If Terry Rozier is not better, this Hornets team is only going to win about 12 games. The Chicago Bulls have to get better. Jim Boylan, you can install time clocks. You can have them clock in. You can follow him on Instagram. You can follow him on Twitter. You can follow him in a goddamn way you want to follow him. But what I need you to do is I need you to get the Chicago Bulls to playing better. And these guys need to go out and they need to have better performances, play more inspired basketball. I have not been seeing inspired basketball performances from the Chicago Bulls in quite some time. So let's go ahead and let's hop into the last couple games of the day. The last couple games of the day that we have the Sacramento Kings versus the Phoenix Suns. What I'm seeing from the Kings is upsetting, man. It was upsetting, man. I'm sorry. Like Luke Walton, I told y'all, Luke Walton is the worst coach in the NBA, bro. He's the worst, bro. Luke Walton is the worst of 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 the worst coaches in the NBA. He's a terrible coach. There should be no reason in which you're getting blown out by the Phoenix Suns on a road game. It's embarrassing. All right, I need Luke Walton to be better. His team's performances have been embarrassing. He's a guy that I do. People love to talk about players not belonging in the league and getting their fair share or their fair shots. Luke Walton is a guy that I believe does not belong in the NBA as a head coach. People love to talk crap about Luke Walton, and they also love to talk crap about Jason Kidd and Frank Vogel. Jason Kidd, Frank Vogel, they actually won in the NBA. They actually got to the playoffs in the NBA. They actually got players to another level in the NBA. What in the hell has this man Luke Walton done? I ain't seen this man Luke Walton do nothing. Luke Walton ain't did nothing as a coach but collect salaries and start controversy. Sorry, man. This game was sorry, but I want to give a huge shout out to Devin Booker for playing very good. But the biggest thing for Devin Booker had 10 assists on the same night in which Ricky Rubio had 11 points and 11 assists. That shows me Donovan Mitchell can coexist with his teammates, and that's all I want to see from Donovan Mitchell. Y'all keep telling me Donovan Mitchell is great. I just need Donovan Mitchell to go out and do what he's supposed to do. Kelly Oubre played very, very huge. DeAndre Ayton, 18 points, 11 rebounds. I like that big fella, plus 25 for both of them. Dario Saric played very, very well as well. I'm really proud of this team. Very, very encouraged. My girl's about to come home. What's up?
Hey.
What's up? I'm streaming right now. Come say hi to everybody on the stream.
Hey.
Come here. You just saw Jesus is King. How is Jesus is King?
Where is it at? Oh.
You just saw Jesus is King.
Yeah, I just came from that listening party.
How was Jesus is King?
It was over in the Forum. It was lit. He had like grass. And he had like, it was like a
You gotta step over here so you can
I don't know where
see.
it's at.
Yeah, the camera. All right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So how was it? Did you like the album?
I did. I liked about 70% of it.
70%? It was a good album?
Yeah, it was. It gave me some of that Jesus Walk type vibes. Like,
okay.
it was lit.
Is something you gonna play though?
Yeah, it's about good 5 songs. I'm definitely playing that Closed on Sunday like Chick-fil-A.
Okay. You got a song called "Close on Sunday" like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's funny as hell, but it's dope. I liked it. It was a good vibe. In there was like a jungle and like forest little things, and he was on the mound, and people, Jesus. I was like, oh, this looks like a cult, but it was cool. The whole little thing. I thought he had a MAGA hat on, but it was blue, so he didn't.
Well, good.
I brought this for you anyway.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be excited to add this to the new set. Yeah. Shout out to you, Shayna. Appreciate that. Somebody said, is Kanye back or not?
Yeah, he back.
All right.
He Kanye back.
All right. Kanye is back. All right. Let's see. Kanye is back.
Yeah, no, it is. It's fire. It's not like a crazy gospel like where you just be like bored. Them basses was hitting.
Okay.
And then everybody had to lock their phones, but
okay.
I'm a thug. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm continuing my NBA recap. I'm about to be done in a second. You can lounge around if you want. Shout out to everybody out there. I'm almost done. We're about to get into the last game of the night. The last game of the night that we had was the Denver Nuggets versus the Portland Trail Blazers. The Trail Blazers to me lost this game. Hold on one second. Nuggets versus Blazers. All right, let's get it. So last game of the night, Nuggets versus Blazers, man. The Nuggets versus Blazers game, great game. Very close competitively. Nikola Jokic played very, very well in this game. 20 points, 13 rebounds. Can't complain about Nikola Jokic's performance. For the Denver Nuggets tonight, he played the way that you should want him to play, which is like an all-star, and I'm not upset at that at all. The other thing that's very, very encouraging for, the Denver Nuggets was the fact that Will Barton played very, very well. I thought Jamal Murray played with, kind of out of control, but he didn't play out of control enough to the point where it could cost him the game. I thought Gary Harris has to be better going forward as they move forward. I'm still waiting to see the debut of Michael, the back is hot, Porter. Shout out to Michael Porter Jr., huge fan, and I hope that he turns out to be as good as advertised. So, in terms of the Nuggets Blazers matchup, going forward, I think it can potentially develop into a good rivalry. But other than that, I'm not looking at anything beyond that. And I just think that it kind of is what it is. So go ahead. We're about to round it out. I'm going to go ahead and talk about, the games tomorrow. There are only 3 games tomorrow. The Atlanta Hawks play the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons are on a back-to-back. Hold on. Let's see. Tomorrow, 10-24's matchups. My bad. It's 10-23. Okay, my bad. Damn. Okay, so 10-23's matchups. So with these matchups that we have tonight that are going down, the Atlanta Hawks played the Pistons, as I said before. The Pistons are on a back-to-back. Shout out to my man D-Rose. D-Rose, he balling out. D-Rose is a legend in and out of Chicago, around the world. Holla at my man D-Rose. Don't hate, appreciate. The next game that we have is the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Houston Rockets. And actually, after this, matchup, and I talk about these matchups, I'm going to play a preview of our Hoops and Brews clip for tomorrow where we talk about the Rockets versus the Bucks matchup with the guys from the Locked On Clips podcast. And then also the Clippers, play the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, I'm a Golden State Warriors fan, but I cover the Clippers. Guess what? I'm rooting for the Warriors. I don't care. We ain't never lost. We gonna win tomorrow. I got mad respect for the Clippers, but they going down tomorrow night. Warriors, Stephen Curry dropping 40. We ain't never lost. Y'all can hate all you want. Put Pat Bev on that, man. Tell Pat Bev to call the police because he gonna need it when Steph Curry start busting. But anyways, as I said before, I appreciate you guys for checking out 2 for 1. This is a nightly NBA recap. Once I get in my new place, I'm going to have a dedicated room to all of this stuff so that way, my girl won't just be walking through, even though y'all should love seeing my girl. I mean, obviously, she came through with the hot. She told y'all Kanye's back. Y'all might as well appreciate that. But I have a dedicated room to it. Going to try to do this every night. Our stream was so successful last night. It's not even funny. We appreciate everybody who watched this 7-hour-long stream. Make sure you go and check it out. It was our season opener preview. We're going to live stream more during the games from now on. Shout out to everybody out there. If you're watching this on the East Coast right now at 2 a.m., I appreciate you. Shout out to all of you guys. And for final thoughts, I'm going to go through really quickly through the chat room and answer everybody's questions really quick. Kanye back or not? She said Kanye's back. He said thank you because Ye's been tripping. Somebody said Nikola almost fouled out, didn't come back to the third quarter. Somebody said thoughts on Chicago losing to the worst team in the NBA. Jim Boylan better get it together. If he don't get it together, then there's going to be sayonara. And somebody said let's go Warriors. Shout out to all of you all. Get ready. Go ahead. Check out this clip of Hoops and Brews Rockets versus Bucks season preview. And I will get up with you all tomorrow or the next time I decide to stream on the 2-for-1 nightly NBA recap show. It's hosted by your boy TPJ. Go find and follow me right now on Twitter, Instagram at RealTPJ. That's ReelTPJ. It's a film joke. If you don't get it, you damn dummy. And as always, don't drink and drive. Shout out to everybody out there. And shout out to all of the new fans that have joined this channel in the past couple days. We see you, baby. We'll get up with you. I'll get up with you next time. Check out this clip.
Shot it with me. I'm pulling the three. I'm the MVP.
James Harden world. We here. We back.
Oh, dude,
Bucks Rocket. I argue about Harden at least once a day. I argue about Harden at least. Say at least once a day. On opening night, I think they'll get destroyed though. I think the Bucks will beat them.
Really?
Yeah, I've been watching.
I think Giannis is fueled by having a terrible Eurobasket.
Yeah.
And everyone, or the FIBA World Cup, and everyone's saying that he wasn't. That I feel like people were kind of saying that he was figured out. Like everyone's like, just jam the paint.
No, I don't think he was figured out.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying as the press.
I don't think he deserved MVP, and I would never think he deserved the MVP award. I never think he deserved the MVP award. I do not think that.
I think Giannis is quietly. I think Giannis is quietly simmering, and I think he wants to just unleash, kind of like the Lakers.
Simmering.
And
right, you know what I mean? Like he's like
the freak of the East.
Yeah,
that's who he is.
And also with
he's
the
like
Rockets,
closing cabinets really loud.
I watched pretty much every Rockets preseason game.
So petty.
Yeah, he's so
I watched pretty much every Rockets preseason game. I even woke up at 3 a.m. one night to watch them play the Raptors.
Did Westbrook play at all the preseason?
Yes, it didn't look good. It looked like he practiced with the team twice.
Oh,
that's the way it looked. Like I can tell that they haven't had. Like I can tell. Nah, it's like they really like he's so different from Chris Paul because like he gets the ball. No, he just gets so much faster. So they don't really realize like when Russ has it, run.
Yeah,
he's going to take off. Run. And also the way he breaks down the defense and can get in the paint. Like I always knew Russ was fast, but the court has never been as spread as it is now.
Clint Capela's going to benefit
so much. I said Clint Capela should be an all-star.
Enough.
He should be an all-star. He should be. He should average 18, 12, and 2 blocks. He should average 18, 12. Yes.
This is why
he averaged 13 last year. He averaged 13 last year. He averaged 13 last year. He averaged like 13 and like 15 and 13 last year.
Come on, man.
He should go up to 18,
but
12,
also,
and 2.
Westbrook is taking those points and his rebounds.
No.
Yes.
No, even if you look at it, Russ ain't been rebounding much. Russ really haven't rebounded much. Now, granted, he does help in spots.
Triple-double.
Yes, but
at least 10.
But they needed him to do that in OKC. Like, I don't think Russ doing that is the best way you win games.
I will say, this is the first time we get to see Russ truly adjust.
Exactly.
I did not mean for that to sound like a nursery book rhyme. But it
Shot it with me. I'm pulling the three. I'm the MVP.
James Harden world. We here. We back.
Oh, dude,
Bucks Rocket. I argue about Harden at least once a day. I argue about Harden at least. Say at least once a day. On opening night, I think they'll get destroyed though. I think the Bucks will beat them.
Really?
Yeah, I've been watching.
I think Giannis is fueled by having a terrible Eurobasket.
Yeah.
And everyone, or the FIBA World Cup, and everyone's saying that he wasn't. That I feel like people were kind of saying that he was figured out. Like everyone's like, just jam the paint.
No, I don't think he was figured out. I'm
not saying you. I'm saying as the press.
I don't think he deserved MVP, and I would never think he deserved the MVP award. I never think he deserved the MVP award. I do not think that.
I think Giannis is quietly. I think Giannis is quietly simmering, and I think he wants to just unleash, kind of like the Lakers.
And
right, you know what I mean? Like he's like
the freak of the East.
Yeah,
that's who he is.
And also with
he's
the
like
Rockets,
closing cabinets really loud.
I watched pretty much every Rockets preseason game.
So petty.
Yeah, he's so
I watched pretty much every Rockets preseason game. I even woke up at 3 a.m. one night to watch them play the Raptors.
Did Westbrook play at all the preseason?
Yes, it didn't look good. It looked like he practiced with the team twice.
Oh,
that's the way it looked. Like I can tell that they haven't had.
Though.
Like I can tell. Nah, it's like they really like he's so different from Chris Paul because like he gets the ball. No, he just gets so much faster. So they don't really realize like when Russ has it, run.
Yeah,
he's going to take off. Run. And also the way he breaks down the defense that can get in the paint. Like I always knew Russ was fast, but the court has never been as spread as it is now.
Clint Capela's going to benefit
so much. I said Clint Capela should be an all-star.
Enough.
He should be an all-star. He should be. He should average 18, 12, and 2 blocks. He should average 18, 12. Yes.
This is why
he averaged 13 last year. He averaged 13 last year. He averaged 13 last year. He averaged like 13 and like 15 and 13 last year.
Come on, man.
He should go up to 18,
but
12,
also,
and 2.
Westbrook is taking those points and his rebounds.
No.
Yes.
No, even if you look at it, Russ ain't rebounding much. Russ really haven't rebounded much. Now, granted, he does help in spots.
Triple-double.
Yes, but
they
needed him to do that in OKC. Like, I don't think Russ doing that is the best way you win games.
I will say, this is the first time we get to see Russ truly adjust.
Exactly.
I did not mean for that to sound like a nursery book rhyme. But it is the first time we have to see him switch things up. Yeah. So if that goes well, I'll take your point for sure.
But I don't think it'll go well open tonight.
Opening night's going to be a disaster.
Like, Giannis is probably going to score like 45 points, some random.
Every team that doesn't have continuity, it's going to fucking suck.
Exactly. now, overtime, I think they did take a step back losing Malcolm. So I think that, eventually they'll come back to earth a little bit. But I think on opening night, I think they'll win I think the Bucks will win 121 to 107.
I was like,
and everybody's gonna be in my mentions, and I'm gonna be at the Church of St. James again, clocked in for some more hours.
Lighting a candle. I think the Bucks are gonna win too.
St. James.
I think Giannis is on a tear to justify his MVP in a weird way too.
Good. I mean, he might win it again this year.
I feel like he pretends that maybe these awards don't matter to him.
They matter.
They matter. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's good that they matter. You should want to be the best player in the league. And you should take slight if a lot of people, especially the Rockets put out a full-page letter about how Harden should have been the MVP or whatever.
Yeah, if Giannis,
I'm sure knows that. It's like, we're playing you opening night.
Yeah, if Giannis has heard anything,
I want to kick your teeth.
If Giannis should dunk and say "fuck me" every time he dunks. Every single time he dunks, he should say "fuck me."
And I think
because I've been the man.
I think they're gonna crush though.
Yeah. I think
the whole team behind Giannis believes in Giannis.
Yeah.
He has a very he has people. He's a great leader in terms of that belief.
Oh yeah.
And I think the whole rest of the team is we want to get you this. We want you to embarrass these guys.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the Rockets actually to win. I think that'll kind of ruin Giannis. I think Giannis is in a situation where the Clippers are, where it's all right, it's go time again.
That's a good call.
You kind of come back in, he might be fired up, but just because you're fired up doesn't mean you're going to be better. I need him to ascend another level. He talks.
Just because you're fired up doesn't mean you're gonna be better.
Just because you're fired don't mean you're gonna be better. I need him to ascend to another level. And I don't know what that second level is.
I was gonna say, does that mean more passing or shooting? Because I kind of feel the same way too, but it's
yeah, but it's hard to say how a guy that won MVP and is arguably top 5 on both sides of the ball in terms of being unstoppable, that he got to get better. But he got to get better. But I think for him, the same thing with what I said with Ben Simmons, where it needs to be a thought. For Giannis, it needs to be a process. He put the thought in our head last year of, okay, I can stretch out, shoot a 3, I can do the mid-range. Now I need to see the full process.
Yeah.
I need you to go through it. I need to see multiple mid-range shots from you a game. I need to see more than just strength and sheer will, which is what we saw a lot of from him last year. I need more finesse and more savviness and ability for him to be able to create in spots. I think Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, and who's the other big, and Pascal Siakam did a great job of just closing off a lot of the angles that he would have and that he used to have a lot of against smaller teams. Mm-hmm. And I think also that's why a team like the 76ers goes out and gets size, because you need size to match Giannis, because you saw last year the Rockets had size to match Giannis. Yeah. That's why you go and you get Al Horford. And even if Kawhi would have fucked around and stayed in Toronto, you still need size to deal with Toronto this year. Yeah. So I think Giannis has to come out and be better. But you come and you be better, more mid-range, more efficient from the three-point line, make them actually have to guard you.
A legitimate threat.
That's a legitimate threat.
take 1 3 a game, I don't give a shit if you make or miss.
It's just about stretching the defense.
Yeah, exactly. So like for Ben this year, it's about the thought of us being like, oh,
when you get the ball,
Giannis, I need him to
have
shoot
to think like, damn,
he can score from anywhere.
I can't just sag off.
I should probably close out, like at least for that 1 split second, even if you don't go all the way out there, that 1 split second, like you're like.